Hello everybody, Bootka on Blitz here today to talk to you about the Badger. It's currently in the shop for 20,000 gold and is there for 6 days, no longer. Start off with, I thought I'd talk about the fact that the price. We'll start with the price. The price is 20,000 gold. Now that is a lot of gold and I think you shouldn't pay that. I'll be honest, I don't think you should pay that. I think you should pay more like 15k, because right now the Carnarvon Action 10 is 15,000 gold and I will be doing a review on that, and likewise I think it should be lower. If you look at the Object 252U, it came for sale for 15,000 gold and 2 weeks ago it was for sale for 8.5, so that's the kind of price you want to be paying. However, if you really want to pick the tank up with the legendary camouflage and attachment blah blah blah, then go ahead and do it. But I must warn you, it is not the easiest tank to play, mainly because you have to know exactly where you want to be going. The tank, it struggles mobility wise and armor wise on the sides and rear like most tanks do. However, the traverse speed on this tank is awful, so you want to be playing with your team, and you will see in one of the games that when you're not with your team it ends badly. You want to also be frontlining with this tank. However, it says it's a tank destroyer, but it's a tank destroyer in name only. The thing has an awesome armor profile up front, and especially on a ridge where you can use its great gun depression of 10 degrees, which increases the armor effectiveness once angled. The lower plate on the tank is pretty poor. I will say that it's pretty poor, but as you can see, the gun here with 460 alpha, and it has a really nice penetration of 280 on your AP rounds, and you have APCR for your Pramo, which goes up to sort of 370, so you got a lot of pen on those 2 rounds. I personally myself, I don't run calibrated shells. I run the gun rammer for the increased damage per minute. I run optics and not a camouflage net, because you're not going to be camping at the back. Enhanced armor, I think, to improve the lower plate so that you don't get penned all the time through there. And then I'm using improved control. No, actually I'm not. I'm using engine accelerator because you want to get there as fast as possible, and your traverse speed is bad anyway, so what can you do? And then I don't usually unlock the bottom to the toolbox, but if you really must. I think it's a waste of credits in my opinion, but go ahead if you're that kind of person. Yeah, I'm using the gun lane drive and stuff. What else was I going to say? Do not use Supremacy, okay? Supremacy, apart from medium tanks and light tanks, is your worst enemy. So I think in the bundle of 20,000 gold, they should actually sell that you don't have to play any Supremacy, because as soon as you're playing Supremacy, oh, it's such a pain. Right, on to some gameplay. Here's some of the background gameplay I was going to talk to you about earlier. As you can see, we arrived at the battle a bit late, had some connection issue or something. We're not going to do loads of damage, around 3k, but what I wanted to show you was frontally this tank is a beast, and something like the IS-7, who doesn't have great penetration on his AP rounds or even his APCR rounds, is really going to struggle. If you were to use calibrated shells on the tank, I don't think I would have bounced one of the shots here. Yeah, here I think I would have gone through, so it might be an idea to run calibrated shells if you want, but you're going to get around 242 more damage per minute if you run the gun rammer. As you can see, this IS-7 is really struggling with the tank, and so might, to be fair, in terms of traverse. You can see, as long as you keep yourself bunched up in his face, he cannot do anything. I'm just going to switch to some HE here just to finish him off. There's no point using AP, which could bounce. You want to be using the HE. And then here I'm thinking, should I go for the T92? No, I need to get back to the team, which is what the tank needs to be with all the time. You need to focus on being with the team. Unfortunately, this team, although we are winning by numerous tanks, we're very low on hit points. The only one who's got full hit points, and they're all taking loads of damage. I think they're going one by one, like a small line of lemmings. They're just going one by one and all dying, as you can see. So when you're picking your targets, you really want to be going for the mediums and lights, because they're the ones who will pose the biggest threat to you on the battlefield, because with their maneuverability they can get around to the side and rear, and as you have no turret, obviously, you're going to struggle to hit them. This Jagdpanzer just fired AP straight through the bottom of the plate, no problem at all. It's got a lot of pen, that thing. So I'm just trying to clear him, minimise the amount of tanks here, but I can't do much because there's still 2 mediums, and look at this traverse. Yeah, you're just going to get absolutely butchered by these tanks. That was a lucky bounce from the 121B, but there's not much you can actually do. So this is why I'm saying, do you want to actually pick up the tank, because you know it's very situational. If you've got a good competent team who's going to hold for you, that's fine, pick it up. And if you're that kind of player who doesn't mind ending a game like this with 3k, but have lost the game due to the absence of mobility of this vehicle and traverse, I do manage to grab one more, but that's it. That's all she wrote for this tank and that game. What can you do? Like I said, very situational, the tank. It's great in a platoon, because then you can get somebody in a medium to help spot, and then when they spot, you obviously deal the damage. And then if anyone is to flank you, they can support you. And we're going to have a look at the arm profile, and as you can see, the tank is a massive tomato. Now this is from the view of a T62A, who has 257mm of penetration, which is quite high for a medium tank. As you can see, it's really not going to pen anything on that top armour. As you can see, also with heat, with 330mm of heat, you aren't going to get through anything either. The only thing you will be able to pen is the lower plate, and that is why in the Badger, if you can keep yourself hull down with the 10 degrees of gun depression, you should be fine. So as you can see, this smaller section in the middle of the lower plate you can pen with APCR, and with heat you can pen the whole bottom plate. This is why the tank is such a beast to hold down, because when you are having to only fire AP rounds due to your good penetration, the enemy has to fire gold, and that reduces their DPM, resulting in less damage being inflicted upon you. You have to also be very careful not to over-angle, as tanks with 257mm pen can actually get through that front drive wheel. The real problem with the Badger is, however, because of the bad mobility, when you get mediums behind you, as you can see here, the tank only has 40 mils of armor at the rear, resulting in you getting penned by AG. Here we're showing you what it looks like when a 268 is firing at you. This is with heat, with a lot of pen, 380mm of penetration, and you can shoot through the boobs, if you like, of the Badger. The tank is really, really strong, with sort of 360mm of pen when flat on, but when using that 10 degrees of gun depression, that becomes in excess of 480mm of pen, so it is really, really strong. As you can see, with the AP you can go through the low glacis. However, you don't want to over-angle the Badger, because then you can get to the side. And here I'm showing again the heat. It can go through that, no problem. So the tanks which you want to worry about are things like the Object 268 and the Jagdpanzer E100, who have a lot of heat pen. I think it's 380 as well on the Jagdpanzer E100, and if they're using calibrated shells, that goes up to in excess of 420mm of pen. What you saw there was you will get shot with a lot of HE if they can't make that penetration, and if you are trying to take one of these out, you want to be shooting HE on that top part of the tank, above the boob on either side, because as you can see, when you're shooting at HE towards that middle part with the boob, you're not going to be doing that much damage. It's much it's got much more armor there, and so the splash isn't as much. Furthermore, yeah, like they say, you can see do around 300 damage with HE, which is pretty good if you try and clear one out. So what I would do is, if I'm coming up against one, is I will ignore it if it's hull down, if I'm something like a medium, because I've got no chance of taking it out. Stay away from it because it's got, 3,500 DPM. Go and, try and take out another tank, and if you can get to its sides, obviously that's when you can take it apart the quickest. This next battle is myself again, and this time we had a look at the teams again, and they've got a T62A and a T92. We only have one med, which is an Object 140, so I'm thinking to go to the hill in the middle, and in that we can use our 10 degrees of gun depression and cover the lower glacis. However, the team decides to go right, and instead of going alone, I decide to go push with them, because otherwise, if you leave yourself alone, unless you've got a nice big object behind you to stop a medium or light circling you, you're pretty stuffed. So I'm pushing with them, and yeah, I expected us to push 7 on this side, which would mean that if we don't spot their mediums, that suggests that they're pushing around to the left, meaning that we have a 7 versus 5, which will give us a massive advantage in both hit points and firepower. However, the E100 and E3 are still at the back, so kind of negates the idea of pushing 7 versus 5. Never mind, what can you do? However, we have spotted their TDs, and you want to be targeting those TDs because they usually have the best penetration, along with the mediums, like I said before. So we're going to grab the HE, and as you can see, Red HE, can roll for solid high 500s, praying that it's not going to hit the gun, and there you go, 538, lovely dovely. Clear the 183, and just attempt a snapshot, which was never going to happen, but you take your chances while you can. And then you spot the tortoise. So I'm thinking, right now I can move to the middle because I know I've got the team behind me to support me in case a medium flanks. However, the meds on the enemy team actually push left back through our spawn. So instead of them being on this ridge here, they actually kind of get behind me. This mouse decides to push, I'm not sure why. Managed to tap in one, get a nice high roll, 521. The max you can do on AP is 550. And then we spot the tortoise, and as you can see, I don't have the gun depression, so I try and pull back and press the trigger. However, the shot goes high, but as of here I can push a little bit more, and I'm at an angle covering my lower glacis, which is really important. So the tortoise can't do anything but fire HE, and he manages to do 100 damage, and by here I get hit from T62. This E100 couldn't care less. He doesn't want to mess with me because he knows the DPM advantage I will have, but I'm getting hit by the 62A from the back, so I really need to make quick work of this tortoise. So I get a nice high roll. Oh, excuse me, it's actually 575, not 550, and I'm pushing straight down so I can try and clear him. He doesn't manage to get his second shot off. I make a crucial mistake here in not staying on this position. I'm still trying to go, like I said, do I want to fight E100 and a mouse, or do I want to fight a 62A? Well, I'd rather fight the two heavies because the maneuverability of that 62A is too much for this tank to withstand. I look for an HE shot, but then decide to go with an AP just to secure the damage, and by here I should have stopped, and I should have watched the E100's hit points, because the T57 who fires now, which I don't see, puts it down to 500 hit points. And instead of messing around here, attempting to get my gun down on the mouse, I should have pushed left and hit the mouse. And this is the error. As you can see, the E100 is going to grab me. I put APCR onto the mouse, I try to angle, but I'm showing that low glacis, and actually I think he manages to get through the drive wheel. So we do manage to do 5k in that game, and that wasn't even a third class, which shows you how much the Badger is actually being played and how well it's being played. It's a shame I couldn't carry the game, but what can you do when you've got an AFK? So there you go, 5k in the Badger, and wasn't even a third class. makes decent credits, but that's premium time, 54,000 credits. As you can see, the E100 didn't even manage to get one shot off. Typical. Well played to the mouse, he held pretty well in the middle. Yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for listening. My next video should either be the Carnarvon Action 10 or the E100, and that will involve some training room battles to show the armor profile of each of the tanks, to explain how to play it once again, and I should have some ace gameplay. Please subscribe to the channel, like, share to those who are interested in the game, and also for those newcomers into the game, so that these videos are hopefully as educational as they can be. I hope everyone is well in the time of the current crisis, but we should be back to normal soon. And once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.